Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap. In today's video we're going to be breaking down everything from the Southern 500. But before we hop into the video, just want to quickly remind you guys, hit that like button and subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate it if you did that. But let's go ahead and hop into the video. Matthew with glasses is joining me on the show today. Hardly see that, but anyways, Southern 500, arguably one of the hardest races of the year, first race of the playoffs. Matthew, how you feeling before we go ahead and hop into everything that happened?
Well, what an interesting weekend we have. Of course, it was the Southern 500, one of one of the more popular races of the schedule, like the Coke 600 and the Daytona 500, and it did not disappoint in terms of playoff drama. And I cannot wait to basically dissect of all the playoff drivers how they did this weekend.
Alright, so hopping into the recap. So, short and simple, it was the Toyota's race to lose until they lost it. That's the short and sweet version. I'll go more in depth, obviously. But Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin, they seem to have the strongest cars all day, but both of them had some issues that set them back and cost them an opportunity to go for the win. For Christopher Bell, he had a slow pit stop during the first green flag set of pit stops, and then he hit the wall at the end of stage one, and they just had to keep working on that car. The toe was bent. They kept trying to make adjustments and stuff like that, but he could never get back up to full speed and compete towards the front of the field. And also, JGR, they decided to swap Christopher Bell's pit crew. They gave that pit crew to Ty Gibbs, and then Ty Gibbs' crew went to the 20, which Ty Gibbs' crew was like the top 5 fastest average pit stop all season long. And first set of green flag pit stops, they have a slow pit stop. So I don't think it's the pit crew that's the problem. I think there's just a curse on the 20 car when it comes to pit road. But other playoff drivers that had trouble, Joey Logano, he hit the wall early in stage one as well, and then him and Bubba Wallace made contact on the final lap of the stage, which made the contact to Joey Logano's car worse. And pretty similar to Christopher Bell, he had toe damage that he was not able to fix completely, so he was off most of the race as well. And in stage two, we had a weird caution slash red flag. So the lights on the infield in turns 3 and 4, they were not working. They never came on. So after a while, NASCAR finally decided to throw the caution, and then eventually a red flag for them to end up fixing the lights. Thankfully, that was no longer than probably about a 30-minute delay in total with the caution and the red flag combined. But it's just kind of ironic. We don't see stuff like that happen often. I think there have been 1 or 2 times where the lights have like went off and flickered and they've had to throw a caution, but thankfully they were able to keep on going. Another incident, Austin Cindric and Ty Gibbs, they collided in turns 1 and 2. No playoff drivers involved there. Denny Hamlin, he ended up sweeping stage 1 and stage 2, but after that in stage 3, when you're supposed to be clutch, that's when a mistake is made. Apparently, there was a loose wheel after his green flag pit stop, so he had to come back down pit road, change that tire, go back on the track, lost a lap, and something else would happen later on. But something interesting is that the pit crew, they said that it didn't seem like there was a loose wheel, but I mean, if you're Denny Hamlin, like, you could tell he was losing a ton of ground to Bell when he came out of, or not Bell, Reddick, when he came out of pit road. So there was something wrong with the car. It had to have been a loose wheel or something, because Denny Hamlin wouldn't have brought it down pit road if he didn't think there was a problem. So maybe like the lap he came back onto the track, he caught it like right away before the tire or like the rim could have any effects of a loose wheel. But anyways, he did have to pit. That put him a lap down. Kevin Harvick was actually having a really good race until he got screwed as well. He was closing on Tyler Reddick for the lead, and Harvick dove to pit road, and Tyler Reddick tried to pit like really late. Like, he must have seen Harvick pit, and Reddick tried to slow the car down as hard as he could. But Ryan Newman, a lap car, was behind him, and Newman, trying to avoid the race leader, ends up spinning out and causing a caution. Kevin Harvick comes down the closed pit road, continues to decide to service his vehicle, do a pit stop, and then leave. which you cannot do. So he got penalized and got put all the way to the back. And him and his crew, they did have the decision when he came down pit road. He could have just drove through pit road and not done a pit stop, and he probably would have lost a lot of track position, but he would have gotten a penalty for it. But I guess he probably, I don't know. I guess it was worth it to just go ahead and pit and take the penalty, I guess, for them. I don't know. But they did have that option. They didn't have to pit when they came in. He wouldn't have gotten a penalty if he just drove straight through pit road. But yeah, that ended up costing Harvick a lot of track position. And then Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez, they decided to play hide and seek or peekaboo on the front stretch, or they decided that the front stretch of Darlington was the back stretch of Talladega, because they were blocking each other and making moves and all this kind of stuff, and they ended up making contact and both getting into the wall, and then unfortunately Harrison Burton got involved in it as well. Honestly, just dumb of both of them to do that. I know most of it's on Alex Bowman for throwing the blocks, but Daniel Suarez, he could have checked up and just been, we're battling for ninth. It's 40 laps to go, whatever. Go ahead, do your thing. But both of them, not the smartest move for either of them right there. They both got pretty much taken out of the race. Sucks for Harrison Burton that got involved in that. I'm not going to say childish racing, but just not smart racing at all. He was just an innocent bystander. And then there was an incident that involved some more playoff drivers. So Todd Gilliland, Gilliland, he ended up getting sandwiched between two RCR cars, Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon. He ended up spinning, and that involved Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, both Toyotas again, and Michael McDowell. McDowell's damage was enough to end his day. Significant damage for him. But after that, it was a 25 lap or so shootout between two of the best dirt racers on the planet, Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick. Kyle Larson had the lead after some pit stops. He jumped out to the lead, and him and Tyler Reddick were just riding inches off the wall, sometimes hitting it a few times in the middle of the corner. Darlington is just so fun to watch, especially when you have those dirt guys who can rip the top of the racetrack right up against the wall, inches against the wall. And Matthew, I know you said you hated that little camera that they literally put on the spoiler, but I think for this race, that was actually a really good camera just to show how close Tyler Reddick was to the wall. And I heard they even put a microphone in the quarter panel so you could pick up like the noise of if he hit the wall or something like that. But man, Larson and Reddick, they battled it out. Larson was able to hold him off. He was able to get the win at Darlington, his first win at that track, and another crown jewel added to his collection of wins. But look, let me quickly go over the top 10. A lot of playoff drivers up here. Chris Buescher, again, just finds a way to hang around towards the end of these races and put himself in contention. He was in third. Byron fourth, Chastain fifth. I don't know how he got up to the top five because he was absolutely terrible most of the day, and I guess he just survived and found his way into the top five. Keselowski sixth, Chase Elliott eighth, Eric Jones 10th. Great run for him after winning this race last year. He had probably top five speed in the second half of this race, so great run for Eric Jones there. But yeah, I mean, really all I have to say is Darlington, the Southern 500, one of the toughest races of the year. They started off the first race of the playoffs. I love that schedule change just because it's the first round is all about making mistakes, but Darlington is a track where mistakes are going to happen no matter what. It could be driver mistakes, it could be pit crew mistakes. 500 laps or 500 miles is a long way around Darlington. Toughest track on the circuit, arguably, and we saw tons of playoff drivers have issues today. Some of them that affected their race entirely, like Bell, Hamlin, Logano. Some that were able to bounce back from those. But yeah, and then Darlington in general, just as a racetrack. Love that racetrack. It's definitely on both of our bucket lists to hopefully go to that racetrack someday and watch the unbelievable racing that goes on. But anyways, that's enough for me. Matthew, what do you have to say about all of the action that we saw from Darlington on Sunday night?
All right. Well, first and foremost, what an amazing race it was. Of course, the Southern 500, such an amazing race as always. action packed, especially for the playoffs. First and foremost, congratulations to Kyle Larson. He's able to lock himself in and advances to the next round. His third win of the season, and there's nothing much to say other than Kyle Larson's one heck of a talent, that's for sure. And he's just has such an amazing racecraft, and it's just cool to see. So, congratulations to Larson. Um, I got the playoff standings right here, so I'm just gonna go down my I guess the ones that absolutely approved from when they were started, and ones that absolutely have bad days. So first, I'm gonna say about Tyler Reddick. He had one of the best cars last night. Of course, I have him to the second round, but I have him out of the second round because of the pit crew. The pit crew has always been the Achilles heel of this team, or 2311 in general. And I will say I'm impressed by his pit crew last night. They didn't make they didn't make a big bonehead mistake that took him out of the win. And he was right there, competing with Larson for the win, and he was able to gain a lot of points. So Tyler Reddick, amazing night for him, and that beautiful UNC Jordan car. Cannot wait to see the diecast of that when it comes out. Man, another great run for Chris Buescher. Finishes third. Of course, coming back from his win at Daytona last week. And this team, man, is on fire. That's why I have him in the round of 8 for a reason. This team is firing on all cylinders at the right time. There's still a possibility that this team could go to the championship 4, but I won't get too high just yet. But amazing run for Chris Buescher once again, another top 5. Let's see, Brad Keselowski, another solid night for them. Top 10. He's plus 18. Of course, okay. How about Ron? Okay, where did the world did Ross Chastain come from? Literally the first half of this race, he was a lap down. And I'm like, well, this is why I'm out of the first round. Because this is how they've been the whole second half of the season. But all of a sudden, they're in the top 5. I'm like, where did he come from? What a turnaround for Ross Chastain. Now he's sitting plus 13. So, if he's able to have another run like that, he'll be able to move on to the second round and prove me wrong. But we'll see. We'll see if he continues that. I don't know just yet. A solid night for Ryan Blaney as well, who, like Ross, has kind of disappeared the second half of the season. But he had an amazing night as well, gained a lot of points. And Kyle Busch, who finished 11th. Okay, I'm getting tired of this A team screwing around during the weekend, because I'm getting tired of seeing this team screwing around in practice and qualifying before the race even starts. Oh, he hit the wall. We gotta make adjustments. He's in the back of the field. Now he has to climb all the way up to the front, which he did by the end of stage 2, 6. But then they decided to pit for some reason when the front top 10 basically stayed out and they had no issues at the end. And he had to climb his way up the front again and then slap the wall, which I thought that would end his day, but he still somehow finished 11th. So, considering the day they have, it's not bad, but I feel like they could have had a way better day than that. They just need to stop screwing around during the weekend. So, plus 20, that's fine. Okay. Denny Hamlin as one of the first to have issues. Now, credit to him, he was able to get both stage 1, stage 2, but of course, there was the tire choke, basically. That one was weird, because he said it was a loose wheel, but apparently the crew says that everything was fine, so they didn't see anything different on the wheel. So, that was a strange one, but he thankfully was able to gain those 2 stage wins, because that kind of saved him from being even worse. So, but he's still plus 27. And man, where in the world did Martin Truex Jr. go this weekend? I'm shocked. I mean, this has always been one of Martin Truex's best tracks. It seems like the past couple years he's always dominating these races, but he was nowhere near to be found the whole day or the whole night. And he was a lap down at one point too. I mean, and that baffled me. I don't know what in the world happened to Truex, but he's still plus 25 because of the regular season championship. But he cannot have another weekend like that. If he has another weekend like that in Kansas, that's when things might get a little bit concerning for that team. So they better not have two straight weekends like that because that was odd. That was just odd. Um, Joe Logano. Now he did kind of rebound, but he hit the wall a couple times earlier on, which I think messed up the tooling. And he was kind of in the back half of the lead lap for most of the race, so he stands at +3. Christopher Bell, who started on the pole, then they choked on pit road on the very first stop, and then he smacked the wall hard to the point that the car wasn't the same, and now he's only +1, which um, they better recover from that next race because that's a little close, too close for comfort if I were Christopher Bell fans. Bubba Wallace. Um, Now, credit to Bubba Wallace. Now, he did spin out the end of stage one. Credit to him, they were able to rebound, and he was still able to finish the top 10. He started off that race, the last place on the grid. Now he's the first guy out, only 1 point out. And we're coming up to a track that he won last year, next weekend. So if Bubba Wallace has another good run like he did at Darlington, he could be above the cut line by the end of that race. So we'll see how he does. Let's see, Kevin Harvick. Man, I feel so bad for Harvick. He had a very great car, and he was literally right there battling for the lead until that caution came out, which Tyler Reddick made probably one of the dumbest mistakes I've ever seen. Well, I don't know what in the world he was thinking. He wasn't even going to make it on pit road. I don't get it, but you should be thankful Ryan Newman had brakes there, that he could have ended Reddick stay as well. But I mean, Harvick did absolutely get screwed by that caution. I mean that is the rule. You can't go in the pits when the caution comes out. Unfortunately, it was just wrong, very bad timing. So hopefully Harvick can recover from that because he had a very good car this weekend. And I guess last but not least, I'll say Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who did speed on pit road early on, but I will say he did recover solid, and he's only -4, which credit to JG Doherty, that's not very bad to be honest. So Stenhouse still could, could get above the cut line if certain things go his way, but other than that, that is pretty much the playoff standings. I guess the last couple of things I'll say is I don't know what in the world Alex Bowman was thinking. That reminded me of the same thing he did at Talladega a few years ago when he decided to block the field, block the whole field, and basically wrecked himself and caused a big crash. So that's nothing new out of Bowman, but just stupid. And I will give a shout out to Carson Hocevar, making his second career start, finished 17th. Which for that 42 card, that's kind of impossible this year. So, I gotta give props to Carson Hocevar. You can definitely tell there's a lot of talent in this kid. I am hard on him for the Truck Series and how he can make very stupid decisions sometimes, but from a talent standpoint, this kid has potential. So huge props to him getting that good finish in a car that's been terrible this year. But yeah, what a great race. Always love the Southern 500, and well, Cannot wait for Kansas now. Can't wait for Kansas.
Yeah, that was a great run for Carson Hocevar. He's still looking for any kind of ride next year. I think Xfinity would be a perfect fit for him next year. So hopefully he can get some kind of deal together.
Well,
And yeah,
the
I,
rumor right now is he might be going to the Spire 77 car, which, I mean, I wouldn't be a fan of, but that's the rumor that's going around right now.
yeah, I don't really like that either. I'd rather him have a better Xfinity ride and then, you know, eventually get the cup at some point. But yeah, quickly back to Martin Truex Jr. I don't know where he was either. He had good practice speed, like he had good lap averages. He was right there with Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell. But yeah, he just did not show up for the race. I think he had a slow pit stop at some point that may have trapped him a lap down, but even then, like he wasn't really fighting for the free pass or contending at all. But let's quickly rate this race for me. I think I gotta give it like a solid 8.5 out of 10. Like I said before, I love Darlington. The way it races, the just pure skill it takes to drive around that racetrack. Doesn't matter what kind of car you're driving. Doesn't matter the package. Doesn't matter the tire. Doesn't matter any of that. It's a driver's racetrack at the end of the day, which is why I love it so much. Matthew, what are you gonna rate the race from Darlington?
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It was a very good race. I'll say that. Very good race. A lot of playoff drama. And, I mean, the 7500 never disappoints. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
All right, and quickly, I do want to give you guys a not breaking news, but some type of silly season news real quick, because I don't know if we're going to do a Kansas preview video or not. But Denny Hamlin announced today via his podcast that he signed a contract extension with Joe Gibbs Racing. A lot of people were very skeptical of this just because there were a lot of rumors that 2311 they might be talking to Ford and this, that, and the other thing. But Denny Hamlin, he did sign a contract extension with Joe Gibbs Racing, which also means that 2311 is going to continue their alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota. So I just wanted to quickly throw that out there. I know a lot of people were skeptical of that and whether or not that might happen or not, because everybody saw it happen with Matthew Shriver, Kyle Busch last year. Everybody was like, oh yeah, Kyle Busch is coming back. And then 3/4 of the way through the season, they're like, oh yeah, he's not coming back. So just wanted to quickly address that real quick. But Matthew, do you have any thoughts on that or anything else before you go ahead and finish this video up?
I mean, I'm not shocked at all. I mean, if he were to go somewhere else, I don't know what else is there other than some very trash Stewart Haas racing cars. But I mean, I'm not really shocked by it, but I guess good for him. Good for 2311 Toyota. Now Toyota's officially gonna have 8 cars basically next year with the Legacy Motor Club going to Toyota. Well, maybe 9. A couple races with Jimmy Johnson making some starts, but yeah, good for him.
Alright, well, that's going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts about Darlington and the playoffs down in the comment section below. Make sure you guys check out our social media pages. I'll link those down below. But until the next time, we'll catch you guys in our next video.